Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Hello, history enthusiasts. Welcome back to another episode of the History AI podcast. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Marco. Today, we're diving into a defining chapter of World War II. We're focusing on the D-Day invasion, specifically Utah Beach. A saga of human resilience, strategy, and heroism.
And to ensure we get every intricate detail, we've got CJ with us today, a historian who's deeply researched this era. Welcome, CJ.
Thanks. Chuck and Marco, D-Day has always been a topic close to my heart. Happy to share insights.
Setting the stage, June 1944, the Allies had planned a massive assault, Operation Overlord, aimed at reclaiming Nazi-occupied Europe. Utah Beach was one of the 5 landing zones.
5 indeed. Utah Beach was unique. It was added later to the invasion plan primarily to ensure a rapid buildup of the Allied invasion force and to capture the deep-water port of Cherbourg.
The landing was supposed to be a surprise. And the Germans, while expecting an invasion, didn't know exactly where or when it'd occur.
Pre-invasion bombings were frequent to keep the Germans guessing. But as D-Day neared, the Allies increased bombings on Normandy, particularly its infrastructure, to cripple enemy movements.
When the invasion began, the Allies had to rely on a combination of airborne drops and naval assaults. Paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions had missions to capture bridges, disrupt enemy communications, and facilitate the beach landing.
But it wasn't a smooth ride. Many paratroopers missed their landing zones, partly due to anti-aircraft fire and the fog of war.
On the naval front, Utah Beach had an initial landing force of about 21,000 men. But as dawn broke and the landing crafts approached, many were pushed off course by strong currents.
That's right. And while the initial bombardment was meant to neutralize German defenses, it mostly missed. But fortune favored the brave. The unintentional landing at the Victor sector, which had weaker defenses, made the initial assault smoother.
As the soldiers landed, they faced an array of obstacles. These were structures placed by the Germans to obstruct and damage the landing crafts and stall the invasion.
The first wave had to clear these under intense enemy fire. The chaos of battle, the sounds of machine guns and artillery created an environment of unparalleled intensity.
One story that captures this chaos and leadership is that of Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt Jr. Despite being senior in age and rank, he personally led his troops ashore, navigating the maelstrom with just a walking stick due to arthritis.
His response when realizing they were off their intended landing site is legendary. "We'll start the war from right here." It's said that his calm and leadership reduced panic and saved lives.
Throughout the day, troops kept pouring in, facing sporadic resistance but managing to advance. The beach was secured faster than anticipated, thanks to the combined efforts of ground and airborne forces.
By evening, they had linked up with airborne troops, secured a significant beachhead, and were pushing inland. The cost was approximately 197 casualties, much lower than other landing sites.
As we move toward the break, let's reflect on one thing. While the invasion was meticulously planned, it was the individual acts of bravery, quick thinking, and sheer determination that made D-Day a success.
When the world hits hard, hit back harder with Strike Force Energy. The zero sugar, zero calorie, power-packed energy drink additive that fuels your adventure. Just a quick squeeze turns any drink into a relentless power source. Perfect for your workout, your hike, your life. Ready to strike? Visit strikeforceenergy.com. Use coupon code UTSALAX24 for an explosive 20% off your order. Strike Force Energy, unleash your potential. Strike Force Energy, fuel the fight within you.
Welcome back, listeners. We've covered the build-up, the challenges, and the heroics. But let's talk about the aftermath and significance.
Utah Beach was crucial. It paved the way for further landings and became a primary supply point as the Allies pushed through France.
It was a domino effect. The success at Utah allowed the Allies to eventually liberate Cherbourg, which was vital for the subsequent Normandy campaign.
And the broader implication? The successful landing on D-Day led to a two-front war for Germany. They were now squeezed between the Allies in the west and the Soviet Union in the east.
Precisely. It was the beginning of the end for the Third Reich. The momentum gained here eventually led the Allies all the way to Berlin.
Before we close, it's worth noting that while Utah Beach was a success, it was a part of a larger machine. Every cog, every wheel, every tiny part played its role. From the intelligence officers to the frontline soldiers.
History often remembers grand events, but it's made up of individual stories, acts of courage, and decisions made in the heat of the moment.
Couldn't have said it better, Marco. It's an honor to remember and discuss these events, ensuring they live on for future generations.
Thanks CJ for joining us today. And to our listeners, remember to always look beyond the headlines and dive deep into history's rich tapestry.
Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Until then, goodbye.